COVID-19 virus, Rennies storm the internet, the CARES Act, and a lot more today on the Rennie Report. Alright, welcome everyone to the Rennie Report. Originally, this was going to begin as an April Fool's joke, as a Rennie news show for April Fools on April 1st. But equipment issues I've acquired, using my laptop. It's a pretty old laptop, so it couldn't process the video as fast as I needed to filming from the laptop. Using my professional camera, we're talking about every 12 minutes is 4 gigabytes of film. That's going to be way too much to try to upload. So now, we're filming on my phone. What works, right? So, the Rennie Report. The Rennie Report is pretty much a Rennie-style talk show, news show about the Rennie community. And it's going to be shown within the community, about the community, for the community. And the most evident situation that's happening within the Rennie community right now is a COVID-19 virus. Now, let's take a moment and rewind a little bit back to the beginning of the year. As we all know, we generally spend the last of the year to winter, wherever we're done, after fairs are completed, getting ready for the next season. Come January, we start hearing things about this COVID-19 virus. Back then it was just called the coronavirus, which we all know coronavirus is a general term for a series of viruses that was originating out of China. It really hasn't had any interaction with the US yet. It wasn't until in January we started really getting the first news of the virus reaching the US. It still was being played down across America, across the internet, as the president was calling it a hoax for the Democrats, so it became political. Then that kind of sparked a lot of other people for trying to play it down and not understanding how bad this could be, and we still didn't know how it was going to affect us. And then come the end of January, the shows that I've already started, the early shows, Flarf and Barf and some of the other shows, were running as normal. Come February, me personally, I'm starting at the Arizona Renaissance Fair. And during that period, it started affecting us, those of us who are still in Flarf, those of us in Arizona, Barf. And again, we started being impacted in the local towns that we were at the time, whether or not people started racing to the stores and taking all the toilet paper or the paper towels or all the sanitary items. But it still wasn't a huge deal. It didn't really become a huge deal, as we all know, until March, until this thing started really to explode, and both government and local agencies, or federal and local agencies across the U.S., started hampering down on towns, started making restaurants, as closing them down. People can only access them from delivery and drive-thrus. And then towns themselves started initiating stay-at-home enforcement. But for a lot of us, it did not affect us until close to the end of March. Arizona still had 2 weekends left. Come closing of our 6th weekend, we get the word the fair itself is closing down, and we eventually find out we have until the following Monday to leave the campground. And then that started reaching out to all the other festivals, where started affecting Flarf was closed down, Barf was closed down, and then we started hearing eventually Sherwood was closed down. Unfortunately, those of you at Sherwood were able to stay in the campground, which you're still there until when the campground was normally supposed to close down. And then we all started worrying. Holy crap, we're starting to lose this income in the last 2 weeks of Arizona. And then we started wondering, how is this going to affect our next shows? You know, I mean, we got, Scarborough is happening, was following that, what would be happening. You would have Norman shows, Georgia would eventually happen, the Southern California shows would occur, and we started wondering, this is how we make our living. I mean, there's some people do Renaissance fairs, Celtic festivals, fairy festivals, even Comic-Con. This affected all of that. And so we were all struggling to try to figure out how to make our income. Because once we find out that the show that we're currently at is closing down, and then we find out that the next show that we're supposed to be going to is either canceled, delayed, or rescheduled, we were like, what are we supposed to do? Because it's not like just as easy as going out and trying to find a job. I mean, even the essential jobs are being all filled up from everyone else. But this is an important thing that's happening. This is a biological disease, and the important part of this is it is happening. There's nothing we can get around it. And the important part is do what's right to try to fix this from happening. And so while we all had scrambled and are still scrambling to get to those places that we can do our quarantine at, or not necessarily quarantine, we're using the word quarantine. That's not the word that should be used. It should be the word isolation. Quarantine are for those who are sick. Isolation are those who are trying to isolate themselves from the sick or from getting sick. But the World Health Organization, WHO, has released pretty much 5 major things to prevent yourself from getting sick here. And before we get onto there, I wanted to show, right now we do have some recent updates as to new shows that have declared that they're closing down, even shows that have not even started yet. The original Pleasure Fair was due open April 18th. It's been canceled. The Oklahoma Renaissance Fair in Muskogee, due open on April 25th, was canceled. Scarborough Fair, which the update was campground would open up on April 20th to first weekend on May 2nd, we haven't heard anything from them yet as to whether or not they're canceling or they're going to be moving it again. But then this causes a cascade effect on those fairs that they might be overlapping. Which would, in the case of Scarborough, and depending on where you're going after Scarborough, or those other fairs that are happening during that time period, like Georgia, which has already declared that they're canceled, the other impactor would be possibly overlapping with Colorado. Even though what Scarborough would do to end on June 7th, it will still leave a gap for Colorado. But we don't have any information yet as to Colorado. And we won't know anything about these festivals until we find out how long this is going to impact us. So you almost have to prepare yourself to expect none of the fairs to open up until this somehow comes to a stable situation. We don't know how long that's going to happen. It also means we don't know how long either we're going to be without income or how we're going to locate income. There are many ways, door dashing and trying to do different things. And this is going to be some of the things that we're going to be talking about later on in the show here. But we also had, the Evermore Medieval Festival, which was due open on May 2nd. And I think it was one of the new shows. It's canceled. Tennessee, due open on May 2nd. It's been canceled. Now, there is a website that's been keeping track of which shows have been canceled delayed, or rescheduled. And you can actually locate them at historical.net. Again, it might not be perfectly accurate. The best thing is contact your festival to find out. Or don't contact anyone right now. If you really have to, contact a festival. But right now, wait until there's any type of official updates. Each week we want to spotlight one Rennie. This week, we got Kathy Burke. Hello, Kathy. How you doing?
Hi, Errol. How are you?
Well, I'm doing good. I'm right next to you. So, reason why I want to do this is because we're living right now in a kind of semi-doom and gloom. So I want to kind of show the brighter side of our Rennie life. So,
Sure.
first of all, who are you and why are you on the Ren circuit?
Well, like I said, my name is Kathy Burke, and I have been on the Renaissance circuit for over 35 years now. I owned my own business for over 15, and then when I had to let that go for health reasons, I worked for other people. And this is the life that I love. This is what I've chosen to do.
But why the Ren Fairs? I mean, what's so special about it for you?
Well, being able to interact with people, both patrons and participants, on a one-on-one basis is so rewarding and so much fun, because you're able, to see different facets of people that you wouldn't normally get to see. So, as a student of human life, being able to do that is super, super fun. And working 9 to 5 or at a, I mean, I've worked at a Walmart a long time ago. I was a nurse for 12 years. And all of those things I've enjoyed, but the Renaissance Fair is where my heart has grown to love. So I can't imagine doing anything else.
Excellent. And what's your favorite color?
My favorite color? All of them.
All of them, Okay, now, we're in a special time right now. We pretty much, the nation itself is living in a quarantine, not let's say quarantine, we're not sick, a isolation. How are you and what are you doing to survive the isolation?
Well, I'm very fortunate in that I have my best friend, who I refer to as my sister, who we travel together, and we work often together, and we are in the process of working on a little business to get started, which was supposed to start at Norman, so we're kind of postponing that a little bit, but I have her with me. And then the best thing that has happened for me is my son and daughter-in-law and my granddaughter have moved down here a little sooner than what we were planning and working on, but it happened, and so here they are. We are putting in a garden. We're working on a victory garden. I'm really proud of it. We've got a lot of things coming, growing, and looking really good. I spend my time working on product for our new little business. I spend my time reading. I spend my time practicing my photography skills, which my good friend Errol has been helping me with. And I find that if I can keep myself busy and my mind focused on something other than, oh God, we're all going to either die of this COVID or we're going to starve to death. and I don't miss many meals. So.
Must be true. Not that she doesn't miss many meals, and we're not going to die of starvation.
But, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And if I do that, I find myself spiraling into something that is not where I need to be, not where anyone needs to be. So I try to focus on the positive and move forward and plan for what's going to happen, what's going to come up, even if it's a year from now. This will go away. We will get better. The economy will do what the economy is going to do, and the Renaissance Fair as a whole is gonna survive. I mean, it's entertainment. It's like movies, and
It survived for 400 years.
there we go. So
Rebirth, right? The
this
Renaissance.
is the
The
rebirth.
rebirth,
So
right?
we're gonna rebirth the rebirth. So
All
I
right.
just keep looking forward.
So stay positive, right? Yeah, all
Stay
right.
positive.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you all for joining us for this week's Rennie Life in Profile. Take care, guys.
Bye.
The important part is keep yourself safe. And as I stated, the World Health Organization has 5 major ways to keep you safe. 1, your hands. Wash them with soap at least 20 seconds. Make sure to get everything up to your elbows, between your fingers, everywhere for at least 20 seconds. Wash them, rinse them, and then apply sanitizer. You don't want to do just hand wash or just sanitizer. If you're going to do just one of the things, do hand wash. But you don't want to sanitize your hands, just sanitize. You want to be able to wash your hands as often as possible. Number 2, your elbow. If you're going to cough, cough into your elbow. That way you're not coughing into your hand, on your hand, because this is the stuff that touches things. Your face, don't touch it. Don't rub your beard, don't scratch your eyes, it's gonna suck. A lot of us are used to touching our bodies, but the important thing is touch your face as least as possible. If you touch your face, sanitize your hands. Again, you might have it, or even if you do have something, but you're young enough that you might not have as much of an impact because you're not immune deficient, or you don't have any respiratory issues, you could pass it on to someone else. So if you're messing with your hands or face and then touching everything, you could pass it on. Number 4 is space. Keep your distance, 4 to 6 feet from anyone, even if you're living within them, even if you're in the same house, even if you're in the same campground or the same property, still keep that distance. Number 5, stay at home as much as possible. There are people across the circuit that have gone to their place of isolation, or buy all the stuff that they need, hopefully for at least 2 weeks, if not a week or a couple days. But the factor is, stay at home as much as possible. That way, less chance of you catching it, less chance of you passing it on. And then, we're all strapped for cash. We've lost our income. Unless we're finding unique ways of making money, we have no way to, 1, buy food, buy fuel, feed our pets, pay our rent, pay our phone bills, pay our insurances. That's a big deal for us because our income is gone. But there are people out there in the Rennie community that stepped up and are really trying to make a good effort, try to help us all. 1, you have, if you need gas money, if you need an emergency food, and you're low in income, there is a Facebook group led by Rachel Kunkel called the Rennie Relief Fund 2020. Search for it, join it, send her a private message, and her board members will look over your needs, and they will contact you and issue you, if they can, some money through your preferred payment option, which right now they're offering it as PayPal and Venmo, which are the most common ways of doing it. There's also the No Rennie Left Behind 2020, which is led by Elizabeth Schneider. And it's also another way to be able to donate funds, to be able to request funds. And the best way is to find that group, request to join, and follow their processes of trying to help or receive help however you need to. But what if you're a vendor and you're looking to try to reach out to the patron community or even the Rennie community to try to sell your products? That's where we have the Faire Relief 2020, which is led by Kat Taylor. And you can also find it online as a Facebook group. Go online there. It's pretty much like a Facebook group that is acting like a virtual vendor fair. You'll be able to post information about your products and be able to give contact information on how to order those products. Whether or not it's just a post with information and pictures or videos or however you want to be able to present it. So, find that group to be able to take part in that. But there's also other ways. Again, those of you who are looking for work out there, there are still, like, a lot of the essential jobs that are still hiring or still allowing stuff is, the food delivery companies. Whether or not it's Instacart, which does grocery store deliveries. You can do DoorDash, Postmates, Grubhub, depending on what's available in your area, to be able to deliver food from restaurants that are offering delivery. And that's what most restaurants are doing now. They don't offer inside seating, but they're offering their drive-thrus and delivery options. It's a big need right now, and that's a great way for you to be able to make some money, be paid through PayPal or however you need to. So there are ways right now of still trying to make money. But if you need money right now, follow these groups. If you're trying to sell your product, there are possibilities out there for you. So make sure you take advantage of that. You'll be able to make use of the community. But we know entertainers must entertain. And so not only are the workers being affected, the vendors are being affected, but the entertainers themselves are also being affected. And for this, the Rennies have stormed the internet by way of creating pretty much their own digital aspect of what they do. You have entertainers that are holding live feeds on Facebook, on YouTube. You have people doing, finally setting up their Patreons. You have people doing live performances on other platforms. That while there are people that did it before in the Rennie community, there really wasn't a full out call for it. But because now that due to our social distancing, there is a call for it. So there's a massive number of people out there that are doing things. I've actually started what's called the Renaissance Stream Network, which tries to identify all these different upcoming streams or current streams or past streams that people are putting out there on the internet and trying to share it into one Facebook page. It's an actual Facebook page, not a group. That way to kind of help centralize all this that is, or will be happening. So make sure to find that page, Renaissance Stream Network, and that way you can kind of keep up with that. But there's also other groups of people that are trying to recreate the Renaissance experience online. And that includes such groups as the Digital Ren Faire. And they actually are holding a series of performances Saturday and Sundays every weekend. There's going to be a new group every weekend, sets of group every weekend, and you can actually currently see right now who is going to be performing this coming weekend. Hosted by Tim Dooley of the Iron Hill Vagabonds and Melissa of Cirque du Soleil, you can find the Digital Ren Faire this weekend beginning at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. At 5 p.m. Central, 3 p.m. Pacific. Beginning with Rowan and Rose, we're going to be seeing the escape artist and illusionist Judas and Magnolia. They've also heard your request, and your wish is per command. You'll be seeing Empty Hands. Now, if you personally are planning on holding a live stream, whether or not it's of you as an entertainer, you holding a your virtual booth being open live, make sure to go ahead and contact me. You can actually be posting it live or posting it on the Renaissance Stream Network, or you can email me at the Renaissance Stream Network at gmail.com. and we can get your information and get your event out there. Now, everything I've been talking about sounds pretty doom and gloom. I mean, us as Rennies, we're very ingenuitive entrepreneurs, and we're trying to find ways to be able to make up for the loss of income that pretty much our life is. Whether or not it was from doing live streams for entertainment or trying to sell stuff to the local community, we've all been finding ways to try to help recover from all this. Fortunately, there's a caveat at the end. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. It's taken a while, and we've finally gotten the CARES Act to pass. Within the CARES Act, among a number of other goods and positive, we have the stimulus package that helps individuals. We have the unemployment changes that have occurred. We have in the small business loans, among other things there. But the question is, which a lot of people have been asking, is how does any of that affect us? Because a lot of it's, especially with the unemployment, we're always thinking about, we're independent contractors. Well, we don't fall under anything like that if we're 1099, especially with some of the businesses, depending on what they do, with the small business loans and all that. So the question is, how does any of that help us? I actually have Brande Watson here on the line here, and that's going to pretty much bring some light to the confusion, kind of answer some of the questions that everyone's, and then that she's been seeing and that I've been seeing as well. Welcome, Rennie.
Hi, Errol. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining me. She's right here on my phone, but you can't see her because it's just voice. So, among my questions, which I've been bombarding you with a lot of these questions, even before they release this information, I assume you've been getting a lot of questions regarding how all of this is going to affect us. I mean, for me personally, the main thing for me is the part of the care package that I had most of my questions was the stimulus. People are asking, how does that help the Rennie community?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm getting tons of questions on all these things. Lots of people are reaching out to me. I'm trying to answer everybody as quickly as possible, but this is great. We can get it all in one area, and that's really good. The stimulus is a part of the CARES Act, as you said, that passed just Saturday. It feels like a month ago now. The impatience is making it feel like it was forever ago, right?
Yeah, right? Finally got one of them passed.
I know. So the stimulus package, basically what that means is the government is in trying to give an influx of cash into everyone's lives to help us in this time where we either have lost our work or have been forced to stay home, due to governor mandate or something like that, and haven't been able to earn income. So the way this works is most adults are going to get a $1,200 check. Obviously, if you're a married couple, you get $2,400 because 1,200 times 2 is 24 because math. Every child, a dependent child, 16 or under, is going to get an additional $500, and I don't mean the kids getting $500. It's going to their parents and fighting on their taxes. That means if you have an adjusted gross, and remember, an adjusted gross is after all your expenses. So if your adjusted gross is under $75,000, you get that full amount. Above $75,000, it starts to kind of, decrease, and it fades out completely over $99,000. And again, that's adjusted gross income.
So what you're saying is like different from what that first one that they're trying to pass, where like the less you made, the less you're going to get. Everyone up to $75,000 on this new one will be getting a minimum of $1,200.
Correct. And it's either it's basic math. It's either $1,200 per adult or it's $500 per child. Period.
Oh.
There's no adjustment in there until you get up over the $75,000 adjusted income. Then they're going to start reducing it up to $99,000 adjusted income. And if your adjusted income is over $99,000, you don't get anything.
You know what?
This is literally anyone under 99,000.
I mean, if there's some of us that are making at least $75,000 a year, I want their job, or at least I want to work for them.
Right. Same. Same. So, it's entirely feasible that some of these, businesses, bigger businesses out on the road that are grossing a couple $100,000, once all their expenses are put in there, their supplies, their employee cost, all that, they're still going to qualify if their adjusted gross is, under $99,000. They're still going to get that stimulus. So this is adjusted gross, remember. And under 75,000, we're all getting the same amount of money.
Okay.
Now, the thing that's important to note about this is how you qualify to get that money. And the answer to that is, if you're on Social Security or you're on disability, you're already going to get that full $1,200 no matter what, period.
In addition to your other stuff.
Say it again. Yes, in addition to your regular benefits that you've been getting.
So it's not like one or the other. Okay, that's good.
Right, exactly. This is an addition to. So when you get your normal deposit monthly from the Social Security Administration, you're going to get an extra $1,200 once these funds are ready to push out to people. That's just going to show up in the account. Now, if you don't get Social Security or disability, the only way to make this happen and get this money is to be a taxpayer, period.
Right.
Now, what they're considering a taxpayer is anyone who has filed a 2018 or a 2019 tax return. Now, they just extended the 2019 deadline to July 15th, which means if you have not yet filed 2019, which by law you don't have to, they're going to go by your 2018. Now, if you did not file 2018 or 2019, you better get on it now, or you are not getting the stimulus, period.
Are you still doing taxes for people? Are you overwhelmed
Absolutely.
now? Okay.
Thanks, Errol. No, I'm still doing lots, and as a matter of fact, I'm turning most of these around same day. I'm trying to prioritize the oh my god emergency people and getting them done first. So I'm usually doing them within a day or two of receiving all the information. If you have the ability and the desire to do it yourself, you can absolutely use a TurboTax, a Tax Act, even through the IRS.gov website. There are tools for you to do your own taxes, and if you think that's horrifying, then yes, you can reach out to me and I can certainly help you.
Now now they're saying from the point that it's been passed that the money is going to be sent out within 3 weeks. But if someone hasn't gotten their taxes done, do we know if there's a certain time limit to get these done before they officially acknowledge, okay, you did do your taxes, we will send it out? Or is there like a deadline before that happens?
They are basically saying that when you get your taxes done, you will be eligible for this. So I think...
So it's like an automatic trigger?
So I think that if you do your taxes, by July 14th, the day before the deadline, I think you'll be eligible at that point. However, do you need that money in July or do you need that money now? Right.
Now, is this automatically triggered? Meaning, do we have to apply for it, or will they? Okay, this person has already done their taxes. We'll automatically send it out to whatever form of distribution. Like I did direct deposit. There's people that got their payment as a check. Is it automatically going to be sent out, whatever you defined it as?
Yep. So what they have said is the very first people that are going to get the very first money are people who they already have their banking account information on file. So that'll be Social Security, people with Social Security, people with disability, and taxpayers who did direct deposit like you. Congratulations.
I got mine done right away by Brande.
That's right. Thank you. Thanks for the plug. So those people are going to get their money right away. Now, they have said that if you did not do direct deposit, for instance, a lot of business owners, people who owe a lot of money, they don't want the government pulling out all this money all in one lump sum, so they pay online or pay a check. So the government does not have their bank account information on file. We've been told that the IRS is going to set up a secure website in order to allow people to update or add their banking information. Now, that is only if you are a current taxpayer. So again, if you didn't file your 2018 or your 2019, you're not going to be able to get in there and update your info. So you've got to start with that tax return.
Okay.
So let me just close with one statement, okay? Lots of people have been asking me, and the rumors have been going around about this being a tax credit and we're going to pay for
Oh,
this
right.
on next year's tax return. I want to make sure that everybody knows that that is absolutely untrue. The only way this is going to be tied to your taxes next year is in one way. If you got the full $1,200 and in 2020, miraculously, your income was double to where you fell out of that bracket and you should not have been allowed that amount of money, then you're going to have to pay back all or a portion of it on your tax return. Now, does that really apply to those of us who are out of work for 4 months? Doubtful. So I don't think that's going to affect any of us in any way, shape, or form. But that is the only way that that is going to affect your taxes. Okay. So I just want everybody to know that.
Right. Okay, good. That was one of my big questions. And it's been a lot of questions because people are like, this isn't going to be free. You're going to have to pay it back one way or the other, even if it's just being taxed.
Right. Yeah, and that's not true. So just know, coming from the resident tax preparer, that is not the thing. That's not how we're being advised to handle it. Okay, and so just so you know, so the answer to your question about unemployment is this. Up until the passing of the CARES Act, people who were independent contractors who made their money through 1099 or cash, self-employed individuals, were not eligible for unemployment. The only way you got unemployment is if you were a W-2 employee, your employer paid into the unemployment program for you. That is the only way that you can access it. Now, when you were talking about if you're new with a company or you've got to be with them a certain amount of time, the way that works is if you're seasonal or you're part-time or you're brand new, you haven't paid enough into the system. It's kind of like paying Social Security into the system or something like that.
Right.
So they take 4 quarters of your time with your company. If you've only been with the company for 1 quarter, they were not going to give you social or unemployment before the CARES Act. Now, with the CARES Act, every inch of that has changed.
Okay.
So the way this works now is that anyone who is a self-employed person, an independent contractor, all of those people are now covered under the uninsurance program, and they never have been before ever.
Now,
So that is a big deal.
Is this temporary just for this whole crisis, or is this an official, we've officially changed the whole unemployment system thing?
This is a temporary thing.
Okay.
So most states do unemployment for X amount of weeks. I want to say it's 39 weeks. I'm sorry, with the CARES Act, it adds on 12 weeks for a total of 39 weeks now.
Okay.
That it will cover. So 39 weeks is the maximum of benefits. If we get back to work, or you get, another job someplace else or something like that, then your unemployment benefits will stop once you work. And if you work a little bit here and there, let's just say, you're a gig worker and you're doing a little bit of stuff here and there,
right,
you're required to report that stuff to the unemployment office, and they'll lessen your money that you get from them that week because you made this other money. And then you can literally go back and log on and say, I'm back to work, I don't need this money anymore, and you can make it stop. And then it'll go to somebody else who needs it. So 39 weeks at the moment is the maximum. Now, if this continues to go crazy and go south, will they extend that? Likely, yeah. That would have to come from another bill, though.
Right. I mean, and that this, unlike the stimulus, is taxed, correct? Because it's income?
Unemployment is taxable income. That is 100% correct. Now, when you apply for unemployment, you can elect to have federal come out of it. Some states, a state can come out of state income tax, can be withheld as well, and some states don't take income tax out of unemployment, so it depends on your state. But Medicare and Social Security does not come out of unemployment. It's just federal and or state.
Okay. Excellent.
Most states, it is too early for self-employed and independent contractors to apply at this point.
Okay.
In most states. When you go to your state's homepage and all you have to do is Google, Arizona, unemployment, file for unemployment, something like that. If on the home page they do not have some big banner, big huge title saying we have changed our eligibility requirements to allow self-employed and independent contractors to apply for unemployment. If you don't see that kind of language on your home state's website, do not waste your time. They are not ready for you to file yet.
Yeah, I did try applying myself, and I thought maybe it'd be somewhere in the questions and stuff like that, or the presentation page. I didn't see anything for myself for Utah. So, okay, so there's going to be something obvious.
Yeah, I keep telling everybody to check back on a daily basis. I actually got an email from the state of Arizona today as an Arizona resident letting me know that they are now ready for self-employed and contractors.
So if you're in Arizona, you're ready.
Yeah.
Jump onto that page.
So just wait for that language, because everybody that I know that went on the websites and went ahead and applied as soon as they heard about it, they have all been systematically denied. Every one of them are getting denied. You're going to have to reapply as soon as the language is there for us.
Right.
Don't forget, when you're self-employed, when you're an independent contractor, you are your employer. So the language gets a little weird. So when they're asking about your employers, they're not asking for the different people that you work for at the festival. You are your own employer.
So you just be your name, your first and last name?
Correct. And hopefully by the time these websites are ready to accept it, they're going to change that language altogether, where they're not asking about employers anymore, because it doesn't pertain to us. But that's just so you know, that's how you need to handle that.
Okay, you are your employer.
Now, correct. Now, and also the other point to that is, everybody's asking me this too. You apply in your home state if you're an independent contractor or self-employed. So even if you were at the Arizona Renaissance Festival when it got shut down, you don't apply in Arizona unless you're a resident of Arizona.
So it's where your driver's license is, your official residence is.
Correct. All right. So you were asking next about the various loans and grants that are available out here for the CARES Act. The CARES Act has two different significant pieces in the legislature that can benefit all, if not most of us out on the road. Let me start by saying these are for small business owners, self-employed people, and independent contractors. So even if you work for other people all year long and you get 1099s, or maybe you only get cash all year long, you are your own business owner. You are self-employed. You have a business of you. So everything I'm about to talk about applies to you, Errol, to you, anyone else who fits all these bills. You are self-employed.
Right.
You can apply for any of these things, okay? The Small Business Administration, the SBA, as you'll hear me call it, already has a whole bunch of loans and grants that they offer, and through the CARES Act, their funding has been expanded to be able to offer more services to small business owners, self-employed, independent contractors. The first one is the EIDL, which is the Economic Injury Disaster Loan, and it's an emergency grant, okay?
Okay.
This can go up to $10,000 of grant money. If you apply to them, you need to be a business with 500 or fewer employees. You can be a sole proprietorship, either with or without employees. You can be an independent contractor. You can be a nonprofit. Any of these people qualify for this loan.
And it's a grant, so that means you don't pay it back, right?
That is correct. And so you don't have to repay the grant, even if you applied for a loan and the loan gets denied, okay? You can still apply for the next loan that I'm going to talk about in a minute. These are independent from each other, okay? So you file right online with the SBA. You can literally go to the SBA's website, but if you Google SBA Economic Injury Disaster Loan, it'll come right up, and there's going to be a link right there to apply right online. It's a little tedious, all these application processes, but it's necessary. Now, with this one, you can use this as an advance, as a grant. It doesn't have the rules that the next one we're going to talk about has. You can use this grant to pay employees, to make production, to pay your business obligations, debts, rents, booth fees, anything like that. If you have those things, you can use it for any of those items that you need, okay? This one is a really cool thing, and this is one that everybody should go online and apply for right this second. If they find that we're not eligible, they'll let us know. But I'm seeing all the language that I'm seeing in here makes me think that we're going to be eligible for this grant. We've already applied for it personally.
So this is a grant, not a loan. Okay.
This is a grant. Exactly. Now, the next one that we're going to talk about is...
Oh, before you do that, is it available now to apply for?
Yeah, immediately. Do it yesterday.
Okay. Because I did one for... I saw SBA for bartenders. I think that was like they have their own separate fund. But this is specifically for anyone can apply for this one, the SBA one.
Yep.
Okay.
Economic injury. So they're basically saying that if something has occurred outside of your control and you do not have the funds to support yourself in your business, and don't forget, you're a business of you, then you can apply for this grant.
Okay, perfect.
And the CARES Act bolstered the money in this grant, so go get it.
All right, I'm going to.
Okay. Next one is the Payroll Protection Act. This one is a lot more geared toward employers who do have employees, and the other side to that is all the language that we're seeing suggests that also counts if you pay your contractors and via cash, or you give them 1099s or whatever, so long as you have people that work for you. This one is trying to keep, it's an employer incentive program to try to keep the employers, employees and contractors on the payroll. All right, so the way this works is if this is a loan that you would be applying for with a insane 0.5%, 0.5% interest rate on this loan, which is out of control, the way you get this loan forgiven, which means it turns into a grant and you don't have to repay any of it, is if you use that money to pay your payroll, to pay rents or utilities or mortgages or that sort of thing. There's also now language in this that has clarified for sole proprietors and independent contractors. It says that what counts as payroll costs are wages, income, net earnings from self-employment. So this is also leading me to believe that this Payroll Protection Act can be used for self-employed people and for independent contractors to cover their own loss of income.
Right.
Now, if you, this is the one that I'm just a little fuzzy on because I don't know, and the language is getting more clear, but that's what they're saying payroll is. Now, how we justify payroll for paying ourselves, that is not clear yet.
Right, but this would be like, say, a vendor has not been able to do any production work, well, pay anyone for any production work for future fairs when they're going to happen. Because they have that loss of income, they can now be able to pay anyone to do, even if they send the stuff to someone in their isolation, do their production work and actually be able to pay them now.
That's absolutely true, but what's new in this language as of yesterday, and at least me discovering this new fact sheet on this, is that they're
Breaking
now
news.
saying if you're a sole proprietor or you're an independent contractor, your net earnings from self-employment are considered payroll. So that means to me that you, Errol, could also apply for this loan, and that the portion that you pay yourself that you would be missing on your net income from not being able to do shows, that would be forgiven into a grant instead of a 0.5% interest rate loan.
Huh.
Right, and so this language is getting clarified now. The question that I have is, what do you need in order to prove such things?
Right.
And in my thinking, it's all going back to your income tax return yet again. So here's the thing. If you present just a 1099 or something like that, or a couple of 1099s, are you shorting yourself from all the cash money that you make from your other people that you work for?
Right.
So my consideration, what I'm thinking is this is all going back to getting your tax returns done. Because if you are properly doing your tax return. You are reporting all of your cash income and everything, and that is showing your maximum income that you make, and then you can use that as verification of what it costs to keep you and a contractor afloat in these times where you've lost your ability to earn income.
So if I
they want to see what your income
so if I
is.
presented my entire income, say when I did my taxes with you, what I had reported as my entire income, presenting my tax return that you did as the proof, I can then apply that total income as potential money to me from that grant.
Exactly, and what I'm going to assume is that they're going to do something similar to what unemployment does, which is they'll assess what your income is quarterly. And the way unemployment did it was they separated out all my income quarterly, and then they paid me whatever their equation is off of the greatest quarter of income that I earned. So I'm going to assume that these other things are going to handle it pretty similar to that, which is why I think it's the best idea to have your whole year as a picture
Right.
of what your income actually looks like.
Now, logistically, how did they pay you? Is it via
How
check?
are they going to be able to pay like the loan or the grant or
Yeah,
whatever?
like direct deposit, check, and was it fast?
I honestly don't know the answer to that, but
Okay.
I suspect in this current climate, that's going to all be direct deposit.
Right. Okay. Because it's all coming from the same source, so they'll probably pull from that same payment option that you had done with your taxes.
It's entirely possible. And going back to this PPP loan, this one, you are going to have to go to a lender in order to open this loan or do it online. We have been talking with Chase Bank. There are certain, if you go to the SBA.gov website, there's actually a link where you can click it to see which banks are approved to do SBA loans, because this is all coming through the SBA. All the major banks are going to be, so we've already been in communication with Chase Bank, and they basically have told us, we don't want people coming into the bank. We're doing this all online.
Right.
We are not ready yet to process this, but you go to chase.com, and the moment you see the home page says, we're ready to let you apply for PPP loans, then you're going to apply through the bank of your choice. Now, it's entirely possible that if you have a Chase account already, they're going to throw that money into your existing Chase account if you request that. I don't know if they're going to have you set up a new account that's just for this money. No idea.
Right.
So
the best thing is to contact your bank over the phone and find out what the current process is set up for it.
Well, I don't know that I'd be trying to call anybody in this current climate. To be completely honest, do all your research that you can online while you can. I did not call Chase Bank. They set up on their website, you can set up a meeting with a banker. And I just did it all digitally and then went in and talked to them about all this today, as a matter of fact. But you can do it all right online.
All right, perfect. Well, thanks, Brande, for all this awesome information that pretty much all of us have been wondering. Appreciate it.
Anytime. Have a good night.
All right, thank you. Thank you all for joining me for the Rennie Report. Signing off.